And then out of the darkness, I heard my mother. My mother had been dead for almost 20 years. I recognized her voice instantaneously. That's a voice you'll never forget. You know, no matter how many times you talk to them or no matter how long it's been, you will never forget the sound of your mother's voice.
I'm here today with Reverend Ron Cox, who just after his 50th birthday party in 2016 had a near death experience following a heart attack. Ron, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm very pleased to have you as my guest.
Well, thank you for inviting me.
Take me back to this time you had just had your 50th birthday party, which is very young to have a heart attack. And you're kind of getting ready for the evening. You're going to go out and have a good time, and then your whole plans changed. What happened?
Yeah, just like you said, we were getting ready to go out and have a nice evening together. And the pizza was in the oven. I was sitting on the couch, relaxing, watching TV. As well, as I say, I have two dogs. I have two Dobermans. And you saw the picture of them, Tia. And about that time, they were just around 2 years old. They were never allowed on the furniture. I could see them down playing on the floor and stuff as I was watching TV. And my male dog, Thunder, got up, come over to the couch, and instantly jumped up in my lap. They've never been allowed on the furniture, not even the bed. They've never even tried to get on the furniture. So as he's on my lap, here I am trying to say, no, 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 get down. All of a sudden, my heart attack hits. The first one hits, and I feel my chest go like boom, 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 really forcefully. An excruciating pain with it. I mean, excruciating pain. I got him down on the floor, and then it hit again. Boom, 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 boom. My spouse, who was in the kitchen, turned, and as I let out a moan, turned and said, "Oh my gosh, are you having a heart attack?" And I said, "Yes, call 911." Now, most people don't recognize the signs and symptoms of a heart attack, but I was a CPR instructor when I was younger in my college days. And so I recognized it immediately. So I went down, sat on the floor. I knew it was a massive heart attack. I didn't know what kind of heart attack it was, obviously. And as I'm sitting there on the floor, it started happening again. Extreme pain in my chest. And all of a sudden, I start breaking out in this intense sweat. Sweat was pouring off of me. The clothes I was wearing instantly became soaking wet. It literally looked like I just got out of my swimming pool. That's how wet, how much sweat came out of my body. And as I'm having my heart attack, I felt this warm, it felt like just a warm, very warm liquid just slowly moving down my arm. And my spouse had already called 911. We don't live too far. I could actually hear the ambulance coming to me. And as soon as they got to the house, they come inside. They were like, "What are you doing on the floor?" I said, "Well, I didn't want to fall over and hurt myself. I know I'm having a massive heart attack." And I laugh at this point because I was so sweaty. They could not get the IV tape to stick on my arm. They couldn't even get the electrodes to stick to my chest. So they literally wrapped gauze around my arm and tied it in a knot to get the IV to stay. It was crazy. So they get me in the ambulance. They're working on me in the ambulance. In the hospital, I live very close to the hospital. Thank goodness. So they give me to the hospital in the ER. The doctors are all working on me, everything. it probably hit another 4 times while I was in the ER. And of course, they're injecting me with all sorts of medications and everything. And then the last one, the last time before they rolled me down the hall, it was so painful. I was screaming at the top of my lungs. And I remember the doctor saying, we got to get him down to the Cath Lab right now. And they literally ran me down to the Cath Lab. I had a doctor standing on my right, who is my main doctor for the cardio and the cardio Cath Lab. And I think it was another, probably the anesthesiologist and a nurse. They were on my right, but I don't remember, or on my left, but I don't remember them too well. And as they're preparing to work on me, the last thing I heard was the guy on my left say, he's in V-tac. That's it. Lights out for me. I was instantly out of my body. It happened quicker than the blink of an eye. That's how fast it happened. And here I am in this dark space. Now, most people call it the void. Okay. But it's really the mother energy, Mother Mary energy is a space that we go to. And now, and I didn't learn that until after my near-death experience. But as I was there in this dark void, I could feel this. And you're going to find this through all in near-death experiences. You cannot put words to the amount of love that came through. It was what I felt in my spirit body. I could actually feel it penetrating into me. And it was amazing. It was the most incredible feeling I've ever had in my life. I come from a very abusive alcoholic family. We didn't know what unconditional love felt like. And to experience that was just completely overwhelming. Completely overwhelming. And even the love that you have for your spouse or your partner, it doesn't compare to the amount of love that you feel on the other side. And as I was there, I didn't even consider looking down at my body or anything. I wasn't afraid. I knew where I was, even though I never had any training before that on any of this stuff. Even though I grew up as a medium, I knew things happened. I had a lot of shared death experiences throughout my life, but I knew exactly where I was. That's how clear-headed I was. And it seemed like it seemed like I was there for a very long time, but it also seemed like things were moving very rapidly. There is no sense of time for how long I was there. But everything was thought. And if I thought that I wanted to see the doctors, well, I saw the doctors. I saw the doctor standing beside me. I saw the guy on my right side, the main doctor on my right side, the lady and the man on my left side. And I could see my body laying on this table. And I could see this long, it was sort of dullish, very thin silver thing going all the way down almost the length of my leg that they were inserting into my body. And I could see them rapidly pushing it up. And as I was watching them with my body, all of a sudden I felt this presence behind me. Like coming, that's the only way I know how to describe it. like somebody walking up from behind to say hello. You can feel them back there, but you don't know who it is because they're entering your personal space. Well, that's what it's like over there. I could feel them. Did I see them? No. But I knew there were multiple people standing around me. And then out of the darkness, I heard my mother. My mother had been dead for almost 20 years. I recognized her voice instantaneously. That's a voice you'll never forget. You know, no matter how many times you talk to them or no matter how long it's been, you will never forget the sound of your mother's voice. Of course, I was shocked. You know, all of this stuff going on around me at the same time. Then my mother steps in. I feel her presence. I can hear her voice. And she says, "You have to go back. You have too many things you have to accomplish." From what I understand afterwards, they shocked me a couple of times, but I only knew the last one. Because right after she said, "You have to go back, you have things to accomplish," I felt the shock hit my body. I felt my body come back down on the gurney that I was laying on. And I was instantly back. Was it painful? No. Did it hurt leaving my body? No. What hurt was me hitting my head on this metal gurney that they had me on when I came back. And they shocked me and my body came up off the table. And as they're wheeling me to the room to ICU, I'm saying to the nurse, a new nurse that had joined in to help transport me, I said, "Oh my gosh, I just died. I just died. I just died." And she leaned down and said, "Yes, honey, you did. But please be quiet because you're upsetting everybody in this hospital."
Oh my gosh. What a thing to say.
But you know, I knew what had happened. It was incredible. It was, I'm telling you, you just can't imagine the type of love. Yes, you can get it through meditations or you can get it through out of body experiences. But I just don't think you feel it the full effect unless you're there. And I just, to put the words, love does not even, it doesn't even begin to explain the intensity of it. You know, a little 4-letter word, you know, that does not describe the power that's within that love. And I came out of, now I was raised Southern Baptist. I have several gospel groups in my family. I was raised around the church, but you know, I always believed. But this took me from a belief to a knowing. And nobody will ever convince me that there is no God. There is no afterlife. You can't convince me of that because I experienced part of it. You know, and people have several different experiences on their near-death experience. Some people have frightening experiences. Some people have beautiful experiences. Some people are even longer in their experience. I wish I could have traveled even further. You know, I keep telling my spouse, you know, I want another near-death experience, but this time I want to be gone for a while. I just keep being told to shut up.
I bet that's not the conversation they want to have with you.
No, no, no. But they are very fascinated by it. And my goal in life is to let everybody know that this isn't it. And all of this minutia that we're going through is minuscule, minuscule in in it when you compare it to the universe. It's so minuscule. You sort of realize, especially for about 6 months after I was in a very severe state of depression. A, because what's going on in the world, I didn't want to be here. Uh, B, because I was here and I wanted to be back there. C, I wanted that feeling again and I knew I couldn't get it here. The only way I could get it was over there. So it put me into a very deep depression. And from what I've discovered, most people who have massive heart attacks like I did, they do have a very deep depression afterwards. And I did have the widowmaker. Only 5% of the people who have a widowmaker actually survive. So I was the lucky one.
In your experience, did you have a feeling of why you had to come back, or did you have any information given to you of why you couldn't stay?
I didn't know why until later. And as I said, I've been a medium since I was 9 years old. I've had multiple shared death experiences. Now, I always thought I was cursed. I didn't know what they were called. I didn't know they were near death experiences. I thought I was helping people die. Can you imagine a young kid at 9 years old thought he caused someone to die?
I can't imagine
I,
how
and
terrible.
and it, the whole story behind it all is amazing. My mother used to blame herself for this gift that I have because she went to a seance when she was pregnant with me and my twin brother. And I got this gift. So she always blamed herself.
Well,
Um,
I want to talk about that real quick because that's interesting. Do you think that there may have been a connection?
well, I'll tell you the whole story. So my mother was pregnant with me and my twin brother. And I was born in 1966. So the ultrasound hadn't been invented yet. They didn't do x-rays and they only listened for heartbeats. My twin brother and I had identical heartbeats. So the doctor thought it was one baby. My mother went to a seance, and I don't know which dead aunt came through, but one of them did and said, "Don't worry, they'll be fine." And she had no idea what that meant, because I weighed 3 pounds, 2 ounces. Donnie weighed 3 pounds, 5 ounces. We were a 6 pound, 7 ounce boy or baby because she didn't know it was a boy at that time. So we would have been a 6 pound, 7 ounce baby. That's a normal sized baby. I was delivered first. And after I came out, my mother all of a sudden started screaming, "Don't cut the cord, don't cut the cord." And my brother was born. So at about 9, 10 years old, I had this horrible dream. My mother and her father, for reasons I won't go into, didn't speak to one another. And they hadn't spoken to one another for years, which meant I never met him. If I did, I was so young that there's no way I could remember meeting him. He just was not a part of our lives. She didn't have any pictures of him in the house, and she never talked about it. I didn't know until I was 35 what actually took place. So at 9 years old, 10 years old, right around that age, I was coming down. I came down. I got ready for school. I told mom, I said, I had a bad, bad dream last night. And she asked me what it was. And I said, it was nighttime. I was in a boat on the water. Another boat hit me. I fell in the water. And when they found my body, pieces of me were missing. Yeah, exactly. A 9, 10-year-old kid having this dream. My mother wrote it off. Don't worry, you probably had something before you went to bed. She believed in those old wives' tales. Maybe 2 days later, my Uncle Lewis called my mother. My grandfather was killed. He went fishing at night here in Florida on one of the multiple lakes up near Orlando. And as he was night fishing, a boat hit him. They were alligator poachers. They hit him. He fell in the water and drowned. When they found his body, pieces of him were missing. So they
Wow.
had to cremate him.
Was
When
this the first premonition dream that you had had?
yeah, I was always a sensitive child. I think I could pick him up empathically because every time the ambulance went out, I would start bawling. And my mother would ask me, why are you crying? I said, because I can feel somebody hurting. So I think I was very empathic until all of this started. Um, so my mother sat me down and said, you can't talk with anybody about this. You can't tell any of your brothers and sisters, and there were a total of 8 of us. You can't talk to your friends. If you want to talk about this, you have to talk with me. Well, that was my first shared death experience. And then I had another shared death experience when I was about 13. My next door neighbor, Bill, he was like a father to me. And I had just started my freshman year of high school. And we were at the football game. And all of a sudden, I got this feeling, and I knew I had to go find my friend Karen because of the fact that she would also get a call. I said, I just got the vision that Bill Holland just died. And lo and behold, our parents came and got us from the football game because he had just passed away. Now, I thought I caused his death. 13, 14 years old, you don't know any better. When I was 15, I knew my father was going to die. Before he passed, he was in the hospital. He had cancer. And we knew he was in the hospital. He was in Kentucky. I was in Indiana. So it was all phone conversations. I was a young kid. And this was still my freshman year of high school. Yeah, this was freshman year of high school. I may have my age off. And we had to give a speech in speech class. So my father was in the hospital. He was going through lung cancer surgery. And I asked my dad, and he served in World War II. He was a chain smoker. And I said, Dad, I had to give a speech. Can I use you in my speech because I'm going to talk about smoking? And of course, he was proud of me. He was actually proud of me that I was using him to demonstrate with. Here, this kid's father is getting ready to die, but he wants to get up and talk to his whole class about him. So I finished writing up my speech that night. I was supposed to give it the next day. That morning, we got the phone call that my dad had passed away. That was a really hard one.
Did you feel you were also the cause of his death?
Yeah.
That would
Yeah.
be really hard for a child.
Because I saw it. I would see it, then it would pass. I would see it, then they would pass. You know, what else am I to come up with except this is my fault? I literally grew up thinking I was the Grim Reaper. That's a little crazy. And that's too much for a kid to carry. But these gifts were very strong, and my mother wouldn't let me do anything with them. So years went on, and my partner passed away of AIDS. And that day, that morning, I woke up and Jamie couldn't speak. Went in, said good morning, gave him a kiss, good morning. Because I took care of him at the house. I brought in all the all the neighbors. I brought in all the nurses to help take care of him in our home. You know, I wasn't going to let him pass away in some hospital. I've been taking care of him in the home for about 90 days. And that morning when I woke up, like I said, I went in, said good morning, and he went to speak. And as he was trying to speak, nothing came out. He had nothing wrong with his voice box. He had nothing wrong with his mouth, with his lungs. Just nothing would come out. So we were members of the, it was in Phoenix, Arizona, Center for Spiritual Living. We were members there, and Reverend Gwen Potoff used to come over and do a lot of Reiki on Jamie while he was sick and stuff. He had that vibrant personality where everybody wanted to be around him. He looked like a movie star. And I got on the phone and I called Reverend Gwen. I said, I think today's the day. And she goes, what do you mean? And I told her what I did when I woke up. And she's like, well, what do you want to do? And I said, well, Jamie was a severely abused child. He was abused even more so than I was. And he never believed that I truly loved him. I said, let's invite the church over. Everybody loves him. You know, let's send that man out of this world with as much love as he possibly can have. And they did all day. The girls came in, they cooked, they took care of the house. They they started cleaning my house, everything. They're like, you don't have any time to do it. So as they're going in and talking with Jamie and stuff throughout the entire day, it got a little bit later, and I said to Reverend Gwen, I said, I would like some time alone with Jamie. She goes, you want me to get everybody out of the room? And I said, yes. And so she did, and I went into his room, our master bedroom, really. And I crawled up on the hospital bed. I had a hospital bed brought in. I crawled up on the hospital bed and just laid there beside him and laid my head on his chest. I did not go to sleep. I was not in a meditation. I just laid there, sort of closed my eyes, and all of a sudden I was in some place that I'd never been before. And Jamie was standing right beside me. He looked exactly like he looked the day we met on the beach in Naples, Florida at sunset on his birthday. It's a Harlequin romance novel. It truly is. he was gorgeous. Here, this 6'2", 235-pound man was reduced to 160 pounds in his bed. And I saw him exactly the way he looked the day we met. And we were walking. We were walking together in this dark, had to be the void or the mother energy, but I didn't know the terminology at that time. I'd never went in depth and studied this stuff because I was too afraid of it. So Jamie and I are walking, and he's telling me how sorry he is that he put me through all of that. And, I was telling him, of course, how much I loved him and I was going to be okay. And it was okay for him to travel on, to continue his new journey. And I could see like this fuzzy light in a distance from us. And as we're walking, the light got bigger and bigger and bigger. And it got to a point, and I said, Jamie, I can't go any further. And he's like, what do you mean you can't go any further? And I said, I don't know. I just got this feeling that I'm not supposed to walk any further. I said, it's okay. Go ahead. And he walked, and the light was, when a picture becomes blurry and it looks real fuzzy and soft and stuff? Well, that's what this light looked like. So as he's walking towards the light, I'm telling him, I'm okay. I'm okay. He looks back at me one last time. I said, I love you. I will be fine. And as soon as he went into that light, I was completely back in my body. I knew exactly what had happened. I knew exactly where I'd been. I knew exactly where I was now. I'm as clear as I am talking to you after that major experience. And I went out and I got Reverend Gwen. I said, I need you to come out here immediately. I have something to tell you. I was a smoker at the time. And as I'm sitting out there shaking, telling her this story, as I finished the story and put out the cigarette, the registered nurse came to the door, said, Ronnie, you need to come in here right now. He had passed that moment. So he had waited for me to tell Reverend Gwen about it before he crossed over. That was the last gift he ever gave me.
I can't thank you enough for sharing that one of the most intimate experiences of your life.
This is how we learn.
Yeah.
This is how we grow. If I don't share this experience with you, how can I touch you? How can I inspire you? How can I light that spark of God within you? Because that's what it is. That's what's igniting within you. It's that spark of God. It's saying, this is real. How could I experience all of these things I've experienced if they're fake? So those are a couple of my major near-death experience, or shared death experiences, I should say. All my friends, I left Phoenix, Arizona after that and moved out here to Florida. Start over, start a new life, because that was trauma. That was so traumatic. I was only 30 years old. And afterwards, I decided to move out here to Florida. Well, it's funny because my friends started calling me Miss Cleo, because I would say things and it would be right. So they started to joke. I was Miss Cleo within the group and stuff. So leading up, going to my heart attack now, and you asked how it sort of changed me afterwards. Well, I'm with my new spouse. We're actually married. And after my heart attack, I'm asleep and I start talking at the top of my lungs. And I only talk in my sleeps when I'm having visions, and my spouse knows that. So he tries to talk with me while I'm asleep to help get me to different places. But he always says I can never understand a word you're saying. So, and I remember exactly what it was. And I remember seeing, it's like I was looking up and people were looking down. Okay. That's what I saw in this. This was a vision. This was not a dream. And I will tell you the difference between the two in a little bit. And I started yelling in my sleep, "Why are you watching me? Why are you watching me? I don't understand why you're there." And then I saw that I was standing in a park. I could see the pavilion, the A-frame of the pavilion. I could see bushes all the way around this pavilion. I saw this figure, but it was a grayish figure. It I couldn't see them like I'm seeing you. It was almost like the outline of the body, and they were gray. And I saw their hand go up like this, and then I saw the body fall over, and it fell in the bushes. Well, the next morning, of course, my spouse says, "Who in the world were you talking to last night?" Blah, blah, blah. And I said, "Oh, I remember." And I told him what I saw. And he's like, "Okay, do you know who it is?" I said, "I have absolutely no idea." So I had my coffee, grabbed my cigarette. I head outside to sit by the pool to be with the dogs. I'm going through my Facebook. I look down, "Rest in peace, Wendy." Now, this woman used to work for me. I was a nightclub manager here in Fort Lauderdale. I've managed several nightclubs. She was a DJ. She was known all over the world. I had a blast with her. And she used to work for me at least twice a month, every Saturday night. And we became friends for years. Rest in peace, Wendy. All I could do was stare at it. And my spouse, Dennis, says, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "The only thing I can do is call another friend of mine, a DJ who worked for me as well. But I have to wait until the afternoon because he worked last night, so I need to let him sleep." So I waited till the afternoon, called him, said, "Hey, what is this rest in peace, Wendy?" He goes, "I haven't been asleep since last night. I took the night, I finished, when I found out, I took the rest of the night off work, and I've just been helping." That Wendy and her girlfriend got in an argument. Wendy went down to Nichols Park and she shot herself in the head, and her body fell in the bushes. And it took her a few hours, for the police a few hours to find her body. Okay. I hung up the phone. My spouse says, "You are too accurate. You need to go get trained on this." So, okay. So I did. I went through some training here in Fort Lauderdale, and I ended up being pretty good at it. And I thought, okay, well, let's see what else transpires. Let's take this a little further. So I went to Arthur Findlay Spiritualist College in Stansted, United Kingdom. And it's over there in the United Kingdom, the people that live around it call it Hogwarts from Harry Potter, because it is the oldest spiritualist school in the world. It started before World War One, and then that place became a hospital for World War One. So there were lots of spirits and ghosts in there. Well, guess what? I was seeing them. I even was given a reading to a girl, to this woman, for this woman who was standing right behind her. Looks like you, not physically, but like I'm looking at you. This is how I was looking at this woman. I gave my sitter a full description of her from head to toe, everything. The girl's sitting there going, I have no idea who you're talking about. I said, this is impossible. She is standing right there. My instructor comes over and says, Ron, I'm sorry, but I was sort of listening in, but that's not for her. That's for me. And I know exactly who you're talking about. And he goes, or she said, your description couldn't be more perfect of Jean. She used to work here for 35 years. And she said, do you know such and such? And I said, yeah, I don't know him personally, but I read his books. She goes, Jean was the writer for his books. I said, so wait a second, you're telling me I'm seeing ghosts in this school? And they were everywhere. It's amazing. It's amazing. Even my spouse now. I kept seeing this gentleman standing at the end of my island in the kitchen. I had no idea who this man was. I'd never seen him before. My spouse never had pictures of his father out because he was another abusive alcoholic. So I never saw pictures of him. So at that time, I was going to classes here in Fort Lauderdale, and I told my mentor about it. I described the guy. I said he's in a white t-shirt. He's got cigarettes rolled up in his sleeve right here. He's wearing his bluish grayish slacks, but they're not dress slacks, and they're not blue jeans. And as I'm describing him, I said, actually, they're utility pants. So my mentor was able to get in to me and see this person and communicate with this person. And he says, I have no idea who in the world would name their kid this, but I think it is the most horrible thing. I said, what? And he goes, he tells me his name is Shorty. I said, oh my gosh, you got to be kidding me. I know exactly who that is. I've never seen him before, but I know exactly who it is. It was my spouse's father, who didn't get the chance to say goodbye, who knows that he obviously in the spirit world knows that I'm a medium, and that's the only way he had, the only chance he had to come in and say goodbye to his son.
You are very gifted.
What a gift to be able to give to some. No, I'm not gifted. I'm not gifted. This is the best way to describe this that I found out. Now, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. As you know, I'm an ordained reverend. I went through to the University of Metaphysics out of Sedona, Arizona. So I am a metaphysician, if I can even say it today, and a spiritualist. So I'm sorry.
Take your time. It's
I
fine.
did my emotions. I just lost where I was going with that. So obviously spirit's not okay, thank you. Um when we look on the grand universal scale, let's say, for a better word, if you believe in pure energy, if you believe our lives are preordained, then you will understand that before my spirit decided to enter the baby's body in my mother's womb, we all stand before the presence of God before we come here. And we decide what we want our life to be, what we need to learn for our soul spirit to evolve. Because that's what this life is all about. It's about evolving. And it's not about evolving the physical body, it's about evolving the soul. So as your body learns and grows, your soul does as well. And that's what is carried on throughout the other lifetime. So before I came into this world, I stood in front of God, and God would have said something to the fact, um, I would like you to work for me. I want to give you an ability that is going to be, you're going to find it very few and far between in people. There's only 1% of the population that actually receives this gift. I was given an ability. The gift is when you're either on Zoom with me or sitting in my office, and I'm able to bring your loved one through and give you precise evidence of them. That's the gift, but the gift is for you, not for me. I'm just the I'm just the middleman with an ability. So
So, coming back around full circle to when your mother was pregnant with you and she went to the seance, do you feel like that had anything to do with your abilities?
in the human world, I would want to say yes. In the spiritual world, I'd say no. I would think the abilities were already there. She was just letting my mother know that it was we were going to be okay and to calm her nerves. But then, how can we ever prove that? So you just have to look at it and say it could have been several different ways. You know, but my mother also blamed herself for me being gay. She blamed herself for me being a medium. And it didn't
That
matter.
that's what mothers do.
Yeah, it didn't matter. She was very protective of me. Even though I did not realize that, she was being extremely protective of me. So obviously I see clients now. I'm still doing my studies. Right now I'm working on my master's degree, and then I'm going for my doctoral degree. And just moving forward in life and realizing that as a child, even though it was an alcoholic, verbally abusive family, the hardest part is to realize it had nothing to do with me. because they were the adults in the room, not me. And, you know, as children, we carry that stuff with us through our entire life. And it's hard to get rid of. But we have to realize that it wasn't us, it was the adults. So she put that on me as a child, okay, which killed my self-worth, self-esteem. Something was going on with me that I did not understand, that I wasn't allowed to talk about. So she put a fear within me that I had to overcome later. And it took me up to 50 years to overcome that fear that was created when I was 9 or 10 years old. So obviously, God had a plan for me, just like you. Before your husband passed, would you ever have imagined you doing this?
No, even after my husband passed, which was 20 years ago, even 5 years ago. So it's a mystery at first why things happen to you, and then as time goes on and we learn more and we experience more and we start to heal, everything starts to fall into place and we can understand why we've had experiences that were life-changing.
Yes. But they are life-changing to bring you to this point.
Right.
It had to change my life, or I never would have ended up here. Okay. I'm sorry to say this, but your husband had to pass for you to be doing this. And now, I'm sorry, I have people talking in my ear over here.
You're fine.
Um, you were led to this.
I was.
Mhm. I feel like he had a big part of it.
I do too.
And I also feel, let me put this in the words that you want to give me. I feel that you have better communication with him now. Like you talk with him. You still talk with him.
I do.
I know. Because it got him here telling me you still talk with him. Okay. So he helped lead you here. I also know that you kept thinking about doing something like this, but were too afraid to do it and kept saying you couldn't do it. You couldn't do it until you finally said, I'm just going to.
Yes. How did you know that? Yes, that is
Because I've
exactly
got
what I
him
did.
standing here telling me.
Yeah, for a long time.
I'm sorry, but I try to control them, but they just start talking. I can't. And when spirit talks to me, I have to listen. And I've always been trained whenever spirit gives something out, you always give it out. And I knew you were open to it. I can tell you're open to it. I should have asked you, do I have permission first? But when I've got someone talking in my ear, it's hard to start thinking consciously. so I know you feel his presence still. You know, and I feel Jamie's presence. I felt his presence for a very long time until I got married. And then it started dwindling off. And then I was like, well, why aren't you around me as much as you used to be? And I thought, you know what? Go play. Go discover the universe. Go anywhere you want to go. Enjoy your new life. I'm fine now.
Will you see him again?
Yeah. Yeah. I have no doubt about it. I have absolutely no doubt about it. Um, so this has been a very interesting life path for me. I would have never imagined I would end up where I'm at now. I mean, even before I met my spouse, we've been together for 17 years. I mean, managing bars and stuff, I won't talk about all of life's experiences, but, I sort of ended up on the wrong path. I was drinking, doing drugs, and all sorts of things, and just enjoying life to the fullest. And, the heart attack came in, and God said, no, you're supposed to be on this path. Almost like a course correction with GPS. Nope, you need to do a U-turn.
Exactly. Yeah, that's how I feel like with my experiences as well. It was like, nope, we're gonna head this way.
Yep. And no matter how hard you tried not to go that way, you were always brought back to this point. That's how I was. And we're all divinely guided. And I believe we all get to the point in life where we need to be. Just some of us take a scenic route and some of us take the express lane.
Mhm.
I took the scenic route because I needed those life experiences to be able to do what I do with people. So I said I'd share the difference between a dream and a vision. A dream, when you wake up in the morning, you will have trouble recalling it, all the finer details, 2 hours after you wake up. A vision, you will remember every detail all day long because you didn't just experience it, you were a part of it. You were there. A lot of my stuff comes in visions, in dreams, or visions, not dreams. And that, especially with my shared death experiences, it seems to always be when I lay down and take a nap or sleep at night. That's when those shared death experience seems to take place. My mediumship, I'm open. I'm open.
How can people learn how to open themselves up like that so they can maybe have a vision for themselves?
Well, through the practice of meditation. And meditation can be as long as a minute. It can be as long as an hour. It can be as long as you want it to be. A meditation is simply closing your eyes, breathing in through your nose, exhaling through your mouth, and clearing all the thoughts in your head. That's a meditation. Now, you don't want to stop all thought. You want to slow down thought. Just like if I can think of a good example, the only thing I can think of is when you're breathing and listening to your heartbeat. So as your heart starts to beat slower and slower while you're in the meditation, the gap between heartbeats become wider and wider. The thoughts are the same way. So when you're in meditation and you have a thought coming in after thought coming in after thought coming in, well, meditation through the practice of breathing, you're going to slow down those thoughts. And as those thoughts start to slow down, space starts to develop between them. And then eventually the space becomes wider and wider and wider. The meditation is between the thoughts. Okay. And those are just like, the thoughts are like, this is your brain is, I call it a monkey brain because it's designed to produce about 80,000 thoughts per day. Okay. A lot of those thoughts you don't realize because they're taking place in the subconscious before they even filter up to the conscious. So you don't recognize that. But when you're in meditation, you slow all of that down. And then when an intrusive thought comes in, say, did I turn off the stove? That's what I'm talking about, little thoughts. That's that brain just trying to keep active. Did I turn off the stove? Is the iron off? Did I let the cat in? Things like that that don't make sense. Okay. Those are the thoughts you're slowing down. Those are the thoughts that you're providing space in between each one. Now, not everybody is going to develop what I've developed, but everybody is psychic. Okay. And as you meditate, your psychic energy is coming up. So every day, if you meditate every day, you're building on that energy. So when you go out to the world, and have you ever been to some place and thought, ooh, this is a bad place. I don't need to be here. I should turn around and leave.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
That's your psychic ability. Okay. That's the intuition. That's the GPS through the gut, because that's where all of it comes in, is through your solar plexus, because that's where a lot of your nerves are. Okay. So that's why they give it the term, the gut feeling. Okay. And you instantly turn around and leave. Okay. You're building that psychic ability up, because we all have the power to communicate. Now, do we all have the ability to see, you know, your loved ones that have passed over? I hear two different stories on that. Some say you're supposed to be a natural born medium. Others say you can develop it. I'm a natural born medium, so I don't know. Okay. But you will hear spirit. You will hear the voice of God within you. You will hear your ascended masters, your spirits, your guides, your teachers. We all have them. We have about 9 guides that are around us at all times that are constantly interchangeable. We have one that stays with us through our entire life. Okay. So we have a whole support team on this other side of what they call this veil, but it's really not a veil. It's really just not able to see that type of energy. Okay. Because they're vibrating at such a fast pace, it's like watching a hummingbird's wings and making them slow down. Well, you can't, because their vibration is so high. So I'm able to pick up on that. I'm able to see that. So can you develop it, or does it have to be a natural born? I honestly don't know. Only because I am naturally born with this ability. But your psychic abilities are all there. Meditation will help enhance them. The one thing I say all the time is you can never lie to a psychic medium, because they know instantly. Okay. That's a good thing to have. Well, what will meditation do for you? Do you meditate, Tia?
I try. I don't meditate on a regular basis.
You don't have to. You know, are you successful with your meditations?
I have been in the
Okay,
past.
good, 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 good. Okay. So a meditation is just good for everybody. It slows down your biorhythms. It slows down your heart rate. It gets rid of anxiety, fear, low self-esteem. You know, it's just so beneficial for us. I always tell people, especially when I was doing service, that there is a difference between prayer and meditation. Prayer is a one-way communication to God. You're either praising God or asking God for what you want. That's one way. Meditation is a two-way communication with God, because that's where God is. It's deep within you. God is not up here or over here or over here or somewhere else. God is within you. We're told that we're created in his image. Now, do I look like God? No, no. It's our spirit body that's created in his image. Okay. So, and even through science, how we talk about the spark of God, even science has proved in animals that when the egg and the sperm, when the sperm fertilizes the egg, there's a spark of light that takes place within that egg. I call it the spark of God. Okay. So you're communicating with God through your own self in a meditation. And it's amazing the things that I discover in a meditation.
It's not only for spiritual reasons, you can meditate for physical reasons as well.
Yes, yes. Meditation is very good for the body. Very good. Don't do it while you're driving down the road, please. You know, but even if you're not used to meditation, go take a shower, let the water come down on your head, focus on your breathing, feel the water roll down your body, and just breathe. And imagine the negativity just washing off your body and going right down that drain to Mother Gaia. Give her that negativity. Guess what? You just completed your first meditation. All it has to be is a minute, because what you're doing is you're bringing yourself back to center. Especially right now in these turmoil times, we're all over the place. Life is very chaotic, but you can't grow without chaos. Want that again? You cannot grow in life without chaos. Think of the original planet, the planet Earth in its original form. How chaotic was that? It had to be chaotic, full of fire and brimstone and everything else in order for it to turn out to be beautiful.
Ron, this has been really amazing for me to have you on as my guest. And if my viewers wanted to reach out to you, how can they find you?
You can find me through my website. Um, just type in the letter I, the letter M. It stands for Intuitive Medium. My name, roncox.com. So that's IM, roncox.com. I'll pull right up. Go into my website, fill out the contact sheet. It comes immediately to my phone, and I will reach out to you within 24 hours. Either I typically like to do it via email, and I will also call you. Not only do I have my psychic mediumship abilities, I work with the Ascended Masters. Saint Germain is one of my main guides. I also work with numerology. I also worked with the angel deck. I don't do tarot. Just because tarot, for some reason, I'm not drawn to tarot. And if it's in person, I was taught by an old Italian, well, not old Italian, I shouldn't say that. I was taught by a woman who learned her trade from a gypsy and taught me. So I do tea leaf readings at home. And they're very fascinating. I love my tea leaf readings, but I actually prefer my psychic mediumship the most. The other things are just tools. And they can give you extra information. Numerology is more based on the mathematics of the universe and more on your where you're at in this period of time in your 9-year life cycle. My sessions typically last about an hour, and I only charge per session instead of per hour. Some people get freaked out about that. What if I'm in there 2 hours? No, I don't do that. Typically we'll run about an hour, 10, hour and 15, hour and 20. Only as you can tell by just me talking to you today, I love to talk. This is a great passion of mine. I'm here to help people. I'm here to help that pain. One of the hardest things for me to do, and one of the most gratifying things for me to do, is work with a mother who has lost a child. And it always gets me in the feels whenever I bring up children. I don't have children, but for some reason, I am meant to work with spirit children to help women heal from the loss of their child. And it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Oh, I'm sorry. And I forgot to say that my fee is minimal. I only, I'm not here to get rich. I'm here to help. It's 150 per session. Um, but I'm here. Anybody that wants to contact me, I'm here.
Thank you for sharing your story and for the help that you're providing others. It means so much to me. And I've enjoyed this immensely.
Thank you. Thank you. I have too. I like I said, I love to talk. I'm a Leo.
Thank you for being here. I just want to tell you how much I appreciate you being here and supporting my channel. If you haven't already subscribed, please consider subscribing if you enjoy near-death experiences and other spiritually transformative stories. It helps the algorithm know that this information is useful and push it out to more people. And that's the goal, to get as many people to know that we are eternal spiritual beings and that we never die. Our bodies might die, but our essence will never die. And I want people to live with less fear. Let's all spread the word. Like, comment, subscribe, share, hit that little notification bell so you get all the notifications when my videos post. Thank you for all of your support. I'm sending love to you.